Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily and Gareth.
Hi, Frank.
So, it's all gone off a bit in the Absolute studios. First of all, we played the wrong news intro.
Oh, that was high drama.
Yeah, producer got told off by Vicky Blight.
Yeah.
But in a nice way.
Too much hi-hat at
In
the
a very
start.
nice way, because
Yeah.
Vicky's a very sweet person. But I could hear, it is in the tone.
She did. She said there's one specifically for Saturdays.
Oh, God. I mean, I didn't know where to look. I'll be honest with you. Nevertheless... and then Emily comes in, refuses a cup of tea early doors, as they say in the southeast of England,
Yeah.
and then says, "Well, what did you say?" I was shocked.
I just said I'm on an all-white diet at the moment.
An all-white diet, which is the new book by Michael Barrymore, the all-white diet.
Yeah, it's not a kind of horrible supremacy thing. I've totally...
That'd be terrible.
Yeah. No, it's because I had my teeth whitened. I had a procedure. And no, my whitener was over from Vancouver, so I had to grab it.
Your whitener was over from Vancouver. Hold on, he didn't do the Vancouver Whitecaps, did he? The football team. It's all falling into place. You see, Rick, your whitener was over from Vancouver. That is the best thing I've ever heard. I wonder where my whitener is.
I don't know, but I hope he shows up soon.
I think he's taken his own life. If I went in and said, "Could you whiten these?" I think there would be. Oh, sorry, we're closed on Tuesdays, sir.
Oh, I'd love you to come to my whitener, Frank.
No,
I
that
think
would be.
he'd... Yeah.
So when you had them whitened
So I had them
last
whitened
night.
yeah.
I must say the glare. Do we
They
have
look
any
good.
shades? Is there any absolute standard issue shades I could put on? They're nice if you get up in the night, though.
I told... They're not that bad. I said don't go to Jodie Marsh with them.
No.
So, fortunately, he didn't.
Well,
we went
would a man
subtle.
from Vancouver have got that reference?
Well, he just laughs politely anyway. I think I
Okay.
said.
Well, that's the connection.
But so it means no tea, but it does mean anything. No curry, obviously. No Lee and Perrins. Oh my goodness, that'd be fatal. So you just got to be careful. You said the worst thing I could eat would be blueberries.
I think, yeah, because blueberries, I don't know about you, but if I clean my teeth shortly after blueberries, the whole, the brush is...
Oh, really?
Well,
Yeah.
it's neither hither nor nither. I can't even say it with my post-blueberry... Well...
And we saved you from a lollipop. That would have been a disaster.
that would have been...
Where sweets that all turn your mouth a colour.
But I like the idea of the all-white diet. It sounds like a piece of Roman Catholic history. The all-white diet of 1351, in which Archbishop McKentos was found to be a heretic. That's what I like. And, of course, let's not forget the Clash. White diet, I'm going to diet. White diet, I'm going to rock and roll. It's all there. Well, I'm excited by it. Although
I'm so glad.
personally, I find the bleaching of teeth abhorrent and immoral. But, I still...
Well, we can see that every time you open your mouth, darling.
But my teeth, I see it, in a way, they're like a journal of my life. If you look at my teeth, you can see things
I
that
wondered what the writing was.
Yeah. But, when I played Stick and Stone in the gutter, I've told
Oh,
this
yes, I
before,
remember that.
and I stamped on it, and you can still see that chip on my teeth. In fact, you still see that chip I had for yesterday lunch.
So stick and stone break your teeth.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently so.
I think it's important. I think, when people say we checked his dental records, that's the whole idea. One's entire life is laid out in your orals.
Yes, I can
Whereas
see that.
yours is it's a clean sheet. It's year zero. It's Pol Pottian. I say it's Pol Pottian. If you want to text us about anything, including the whitening of teeth, or anything deriding therefrom, we are on 81215. I said 81215. That's just double said that. I think it's good to do that. I'm also very worried about Imogen from Big Brother, who has been restrained
terrible.
from doing a lucrative kiss and tell story. What's happened to this country?
She's devastated.
What's the point of going out with a married footballer with children for 6 months if you can't make money at the end of it?
I know, and in these
poor
difficult
girl.
financial times, it's not fair.
Poor girl, she's had to cut her costs and sell the story of not being able to sell her story.
Wow.
I mean, it's obviously she's gone Cliffordian.
Well, I was going to say on the bright side, Clifford has been able to...
You've got a chick saying that phrase.
He's been able to crack out a spring blue blazer.
Yes. We have Max Clifford watch on here. Whenever he appears in the papers, we're always looking out for his garb.
Yeah.
I'm liking him at the moment. He's gone a bit Kylie Minogue boyfriend. You know, that dark suit, white open neck shirt look. Yeah, that's good. But poor Imogen. I mean, never mind the bloke's wife and his children. What about poor Imogen, who can't tell her story? Let's have a moment for her now, shall we? Hold on a minute. Let's not.
We only have this excerpt. This is Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
Let me just take some of my white goods out my mouth. Okay.
Yes?
We've had some texts in, Frank, already.
Lovely. I love it when it starts.
Already?
On 8:12:15.
We've had a text in, my whitening. This is from Dino in Erdington. Whitening, surely that's the Tipex of the iceberg.
Fabulous. They're off. They're off.
They're off.
Listeners.
Yeah.
Very good. We've had Frank and Gang. As I can't listen to the show today, I'll have to guess what the texting will be and hope for the best. I sprained my ankle falling over a chair at Deepdale celebrating Stuart Barlow's second goal in Wigan's 4-1 win over Preston. I'll tune into the podcast to see if I'm correct. Matt, a.k.a. Parisna 778.
Yeah, but what's the
I don't
suggestion
know,
of the texting?
but he's guessed the answer. I guess it's when have you injured yourself celebrating something? I guess that's what he's suggesting. Maybe or just injuries.
I see.
He's not right, is he?
Well, I know. He's broke his ankle, the poor lad. Well, it started well. No, it's a slight dip. A slight dip down. I'm still basking in the Vancouver Whitecaps. Nothing can rain on my parade.
You're still basking in the glow of my teeth, I think.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah. Brian...
It has gone a bit Close Encounters in here. You know that bit when the door opens? Go on, Brian.
Oh, dear. Brian, hi, EFG. He's got some news about Peter the Wild. Well, he's got a suggestion.
Peter the Wild. Peter the Wild, in case you don't know, is the boy savage who was kept by George I as a pet.
And he's a friend of the show.
He is a friend of the show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give him that honour. Friend of the show. Yeah.
Brian was looking at something on YouTube about Peter the Wild. And
research.
he says someone called Lucy explains that Peter used to wander off from the farm he was staying at, sometimes quite far. Lucy produced a collar he used to have to wear so that anyone who found him... Sorry, I always find that so funny.
I'm glad you find that funny, a small, wild child being kept on a leather collar.
It's my teeth, they make me heartless in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So that anyone who found him could return him to the farm for a reward. It occurred to me that Peter may have been the ultimate pedestrian racer. His fellow pedestrian opponents would literally try to collar him. That's Brian from Saltburn. I like that.
I like that as well.
Yeah.
It's sort of pedestrian racing with a handbrake on. Once you've got a grip of his halter. I'm going to call it his halter, just to give it a bit of 18th century retrospectiveness.
Yeah, why not?
Oh, good old Peter the Wild. Well, we're always keen to hear any Peter the Wild stuff you've got out there. We've got our fingers on the pulse. We've gone from Imogen from Big Brother. Already, one might argue slightly out of date because of the demise of the series. So he's coming back on 5. But then we've knocked a 6-inch nail through it with... who probably had a 6-inch nail knocked through him in his time if George I was feeling playful. Peter, come here. Lord Buckingham, will you get me a hammer and nail? So, I had a strange... I went to a bicycle shop. You may remember I was bought a bicycle for my birthday, even though I can't ride a bicycle.
That was by your manager?
Yeah.
And you learned to ride one, though, didn't you, as well?
Well, sort of. I'm in the process. Right. It's work in progress. But I was told that the bike was too big for me. And it does look... It looks a long way down.
Oh.
Penny farthing?
I don't know how much it costs. I never asked that with gifts, but so I've got to go and get a. So I went into the bicycle shop that supplied it to try some bikes to see which one I liked. So there was one I liked. I want it nice. I want it so I can put my feet flat on the floor. Really. I can't ride a bike, but I used to have one of those. Do you remember those red and yellow scooters that kids used to have? Probably a bit before your time, with the big white wheel scooters. I used to have one of those. Kids used to kneel on them. Do you remember that? if you're going downhill, you'd actually go down and kneel on the scooter just to feel that little bit closer to the pavement. I've gone kneeling on the scooter. I've gone down a hill straight into a Catholic church, parked the side of a pew, and just gone straight into prayer without having to change any posture whatsoever. Anyway, the bike I liked was Song Crossbar.
Oh, okay.
It was a lady. It was a lady bike.
A lady's bike.
Lady's bike. Did it have a little basket?
No, it didn't have a little basket. But
Streamers on the handlebars?
no, you're stereotyping the whole female cyclist thing now. No, but it was what I want to go the whole hog and ride side saddle. So just two feet daintily placed on one pedal, just on the side. I love that. Whatever happened? Do people still ride side saddle on horses?
On horses?
I'll have to ask some of my posh friends.
How do you decide which side to put your legs when you go side saddle?
Oh, I don't know. I think you just leap up there and hope for the best.
Is there some
Surely.
equine? Is there some equine, or do you change after a bit? Because you know, say if you're riding into the sun,
Yeah.
you're just going to get tanned on one side.
Is that right?
I think the side you get on the horse, you keep the legs on that side, because I think it's about wearing a skirt.
I see.
It's about not having to splay your legs out in a
let's
skirt.
leave it. Let's leave it.
Gareth.
Well, I think that's what it is.
I'm
I know,
thinking.
but don't use the word splay, it makes you feel ill.
No, I don't like that. I think if
My worst word.
if the horse dresses to the left, you put your legs to the right for balance. I always imagine that Phil Oakey from the Human League used to ride side saddle quite a bit into the wind. Started with the centre parting at the beginning of the journey, and the whole thing was forced across to one side. No, but isn't it odd in the 21st century that that's the idea of a lady's bike and a bloke's bike?
I've never understood why the ladies is without a crossbar, but the man's has a crossbar. Sure, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd think the other way.
Yeah, because
Why?
because
Well, hold on. We'll talk about this.
I'll draw you a picture.
This is Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
I was just debating the whole why women's bikes don't have crossbars things.
Well, some of our listeners have texted in, Frank. We've
I
had
knew,
one.
I knew they would. You don't even have to ask.
It's very them, this whole subject.
Yes.
628. Ladies' bikes have a longer crossbar as they tend to have a longer body than men for the same height.
Do they?
It's interesting.
A longer body than men for the same height suggests that women are short-legged, squat even. Whereas I think of women with enormous long legs.
Really?
In the Shirley MacLaine style.
Pete the Meat from East London, who is
I'm worried early
I'm
on.
very worried.
Well, I wonder if there was a gig in Leamington Spa that used to be, and there was a guy called Pete the Meat in that, and he always used to eat
This
some
is
meat.
Gareth Richards' Junior Comic Reminiscences radio. Sorry, carry on.
He used to have a bit where he ate quite a lot of meat
On stage.
on stage. Yeah, he kind
raw
of was
or-
one of the promoters. No, just it'd be a different sort of cooked.
Yeah. You think it could be him?
It could be.
Anyway, what does Pete the Meat have to say
He
for himself?
says, the reason I think women do not have a crossbar is that they do not have to lift their leg up too high to get on the bike, especially if they're wearing a skirt. So
I think that's
Oh, I see.
he might be a carnivore, but he's no fool. Yeah, I think that could be right. It's all about decorum. But then you get onto the other sort of. You see, as you say, that the problem with the crossbar is for a man is there's certain, there's a threat. I mean, if you're out, say if you was out on a late night rodent hunt, you know when you can't sleep and you think rats and mice, that's your first thought. Well, you could. The nice thing is you could perch a couple of tawnies on that crossbar.
Yeah, that's true.
Or a barn. Snowy would be. Would
they not go on the handlebar? I would put ours on the handlebar.
I don't like the talon too close to my hands.
Okay.
I'm not saying they're deliberately.
You don't mind on the crossbar?
No, on the crossbar I'm all right. What I've found, I have. I'll be honest with you. I'm talking as if I've done it all the time. I've done it once,
Oh, okay.
and I found that the L nearest to me started to nestle into my lower abdomen, and the other one became jealous. So there was a bit of L friction.
So either 1 or 3.
You remember that
odd
Bee
numbers.
Gees song? Oh, 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 L friction, we're out for a ride. Remember it? Was that the lyric? Have I got that?
Horrible song.
Have I got that? L friction would have been... to me, I'd have viewed the whole band in a different way. If they'd have had a song called L friction, they'd have been one of my favourite bands ever. But then let me move this on to another. My point is that it shouldn't be wrong for me to ride a lady's bike in the 21st century, where we're supposed to be equal.
No, I would agree with you.
But what about this? You will have seen my juicy couture zip top that I sometimes wear.
Yeah,
do you know it? Brown velour.
Yeah, I'm familiar with its work.
Yeah, and I've often. Well, I realised early on that it was a lady's top. It was a gift from a very dear friend of mine, but it's a lady's top.
How early on did you realise that? Because I could have told you before you even bought it.
Well, I didn't buy it, like I say, and I like it, and I've found that when I zip it, is that it zips the other way around to all my other zip tops, my whole selection of zip tops, which obviously, in the age of my hooded top collection is multifarious. So, it's that... I didn't know that women zip the other way, as well as button the other way.
Oh.
Did you
Well, I don't think I was aware of that either.
But you work for InStyle magazine.
But-
No, I'm talking about deputy editor level. I'm not talking about someone who's pen pushing. Deputy editor level.
No, but Frank, a lot of clothing is unisex now, I think you'll find. Although, may I just say, with regards to the juicy couture velour, I wouldn't call that unisex.
You wouldn't?
No, I would call that full-on wag. You've gone a bit brummy wag.
Oh, no, I thought I looked like early J-Lo. I think that's what I like about it. It's a man of the... I'm still Jenny from the block.
You haven't got the little tight velour tracksuit bottoms to match, have you?
No, I haven't
good,
got those,
okay.
but I'm not saying I wouldn't wear them.
Oh, God.
But what's the point of women bottoning the other way?
Well,
I don't know
that's to
that.
do with-
Zipping seems very odd.
That's I can't say.
Really?
What? It's
Yeah.
not a rude thing, is it?
Oh, I think it is, isn't it?
No. Can it be? Oh, okay, we better put some more music on. I was wondering...
Draw us a picture now.
Is it to do with riding side saddle that you have to go the way that your buttons are... Because otherwise, if the wind gets inside the cardigan, you could be...
Well, that's true.
You could be hoisted. Well, I'm confused. Someone out there will know, because I honestly think that, our listeners are better than Google. They
Well,
know
actually,
everything.
116 has said, women button and zip the other way. It dates back to when women had maids to dress them.
Because...
That's clever, because it's the other way round.
I can see why they did that. It
Yeah.
reminds me of an episode of Columbo, when a man had been murdered and then deliberately dressed in his squash gear by the murderer. I think the murderer would have been someone like Peter Ustinov. No, it wasn't. And the reason that Columbo spotted it is because the laces were tied the other way, because the bloke had tied them, obviously, but the murderer had tied them. Do you see?
Wow.
But that doesn't quite... Because surely men had people dress... I'm going to play a track I really like, and then we can think some more.
Frank on radio. Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Absolute Radio.
Any news from the outside world?
Well, we've had quite a few texts in, some about bikes, some about velour tops, some about teeth whitening.
Lovely.
Re-teeth whitening, circa 16th century, black teeth were considered a status symbol due to the high price of sugar, i.e. peasants had the whiter teeth.
Oh, so was the Queen Mother from the 16th century? Well, the Queen Mother's teeth, I think, were made of wood, weren't they? They always looked like they were made of wood. I imagine that was an early dental plate.
So I guess when they had donuts in those days, they would, instead of licking their lips, they would leave the sugar on their lips to show how wealthy they were. And
it depends on the time of the year. You don't want wasps around your mouth like a park bin. You know a park bin in the summer.
Park bin mouth. Yeah. Oh. We've had some other texts in, haven't we, Gareth, about dressing. Nick in Detroit has just said, "Good morning, Emily, Gareth and Frank. I've been in the belief that this goes back to the medieval days when all swordsmen drew with their right hand and their sword was on their left side. If the buttons were opposite, the sword could catch on the shirt." I like the sword catching on the shirt.
That'd be a nightmare, wouldn't it, if you get your sword caught in your waistcoat? Yeah. Well, maybe so. But I think I like the servant girl doing the...
It's not called my bluff. I think the explanation I like the best.
So it's a West African flute. It's a type of horse. Or it's a bouffant hairdo from the 18th century. Frank Muir. Well, I think that people turning on now think, oh, it's some old Radio 4 archive show. I'll settle down to this. And then we'll end up playing something like Noah and the Whale, and they'll have a seizure. What else?
Gareth was all over the cycles, weren't you?
I was all over the cycles.
Yeah. No?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
It's one of those moments.
Frank, as a woman who rode her dad's racing bike in her younger years, I can honestly say that hitting the crossbar whilst astride the bike is agony for us too. There you go.
Oh.
That's from 441.
Well, that's fair enough.
It's never nice to be hitting the crotch wherever you are. That's what we should learn from this.
Okay. I think that's Absolute's new slogan. What's their old slogan? What is there an Absolute slogan?
Absolute Radio.
Yeah, but that's not a slogan. It's more of a title.
Yeah. But I was thinking...
Emma,
it will
the
come after
producer.
that.
Do they have a slogan? Absolute? Yeah. They don't. They haven't come up with a slogan yet.
I like the way in which she said
That is
no.
not a phone-in.
No.
Because I don't want to be responsible for reading out stuff like... No more... Noah and... I just said Noah and the Whale because it's next on the list. I didn't...
Yes.
I'm fine with Noah and the Whale, even though it is a bit of a biblical juxtaposition. Because obviously it was Jonah and the Whale, you see Noah and the Ark. But that's fine. What about the... what about the cringing?
Oh, yeah.
What about the itching?
Yeah, I get
quite
very
noisy
itchy
scratching.
in this studio. It's someone brings their dog in, don't
Someone does bring their dog in.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's Leona. Isn't it? Oh.
they? Anyway, shall we carry on with the radio show at some point?
I think so, yes. So, scientists have said that cringing actually hurts.
So we got there in the end. You know when you're on a very long journey with your parents and you keep saying, "Are we there yet?" It was like that. I just wanted to stop for a drink of water.
Yeah.
They've said that things like, you know, how The Office is very cringeworthy. Scientists have studied...
Cringeworthy sounds like a character from
Cringeworthy.
Danger Mouse.
Yeah.
What do you think, cringeworthy? Well, is it cringe? Oh, what do you mean?
Scientists have said that the same part of your brain that actually feels pain is activated when you cringe, when you see something really embarrassing. They call cringing social embarrassment by proxy. So when you see something really embarrassing happening to someone else...
Oh, so you're embarrassed
and
on
you
their
feel-
behalf.
Yeah. And we would say that you felt it was painful to watch. It is actually... Our brain thinks it's painful. That's why I think that's why.
So cringing in a way is a nice thing because you're feeling
Is
for
it
that person.
empathetic?
Yeah, empathetic. I watched, I don't know if you saw this, but outside number 10 Downing Street, they had some sort of soccer skills demonstration, and it was anything that's in the street organised by some sort of Sport for All organisation that involves cones being down and soccer skills absolutely sends me into desperate cringe mode. I watched it for about oh my God, it was... my pelvic floor was like a snare drum. It had tightened, honestly, so much. And I do get that when I cringe. I think it's kept my stomach in good shape all these years because I cringe at so many things. It's honestly, I'm rarely watching the telly sitting upright. So many. I'm just trying to think of some of my cringe. Any rapping at all done by a non-rapper.
Does that make you cringe? That's awful.
Absolutely unbearable. That and.
I'm a rapper, Gareth, my name.
Yeah, even that, you see, I felt the
really-
Oh, some of the... Oh, God. What about a policeman joining in with the dancing at the Notting Hill Carnival? No, I can't even thinking about it. Oh.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So, I tell you what makes me cringe. Like, we talked about how watching other people in embarrassing situations makes you cringe. What I do is I remember my own embarrassing situations and cringe, sort of seeing myself in a little embarrassing film
retrospective
of my
cringing.
life.
His voice has gone a bit froggy, clear
Sorry,
it.
yes, gone.
No, I liked it. I like to see how long you could go. You know when you get a newsreader and the throat starts to go, and you think, "Oh God, I hope there's no video for another minute and a half." And they go. Oh, I love it.
I'm worried this story might be a bit cringy in itself, but I'm gonna plough it.
Let's hope so. It's an example of
cringe
cringiness.
on so many levels. We had the health visitor around recently to come and see Ethan. They check out your house, make sure everything's
Ethan is
in order.
Gareth's small child.
That's right. And we
They
were
check out your house for what?
to sort of see everything's safe and to see
bungalow.
that every health is
Do they
okay.
really?
Yeah, Ethan's health
Well,
is
what
okay.
can happen in a bungalow?
In the bungalow.
Well, you can fall down the floor.
Fall into the loft.
Oh, yeah. Is there a loft in the bungalow?
Yeah, there is.
Why, then it is no bungalow, sir. Why, you lied to me, sir. Tain't no bungalow at all.
There's no steps. You need steps.
Yeah,
But when people have their
two
loft
stories.
converted... No, I'm just going to do one story.
Oh, okay.
We had the health visitor around, and we were a little bit worried about the potty because we'd bought him a potty. He's not potty training yet.
Oh, I
but
thought
we
you
got
meant
him
if
to
he found your stash of potty. Because then the child might be taken away if you're the drug addictos.
we weren't, because we've been getting Ethan to sit on it to prepare him for potty training, and it doesn't seem quite big enough. For
What,
him.
the potty?
The potty.
He's a big child, though.
He's a big child, and we were worried that maybe we've got a small potty, so we showed her the potty. And Laura, we didn't know how to say we think he might be a bit big for it. And Laura said, "Oh, and we don't know about." And the health visitor said, "Oh no, it's fine for them to sit at that age. They'll learn to do it standing up later." And had assumed we were worried about him standing up, going into for the toilet in the potty. And
But you were worried about dimensions.
we were worried about
Yeah.
something else, and the fact that she thought we were really worried that he wouldn't be able to go to the toilet standing up, that makes me cringe.
Does
the
it?
memory.
While
of-
you were
I'm fine
telling-
with it.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's quite a wistful tale.
When he was telling that anecdote, his whole body changed,
I know.
though.
I don't like being misunderstood. That woman is going to go on for the rest of her life thinking that we were worried about whether he'd be able to go to the toilet standing up,
Well,
and we weren't.
Didn't you say we're not worried about him going to the toilet standing up, Mrs. Edwards?
That's what I should have done.
Yeah, but now you've let it go. I'll get another. Can I just do one other thing that makes me
Yeah,
cringe?
go on.
Any sort of light-hearted 1950s tribute. Anything like men in teddy boy suits and those sort of Elvis top of the heads. You
Oh,
know what I mean? When
yeah.
you get that, well, it's not like a wig. It's like a full top of the head. I hate that. I once saw
Yeah.
Brotherhood of Man, and they did a Grease medley. And I don't know about any...
Medleys in general make me cringe.
Well, any rendition of Grease Lightning makes me cringe in the extreme. And I watched, and to see Brotherhood of Man do it, I remember thinking to myself, I actually said to the person next to me, perhaps not completely appropriately, how the mighty have fallen. not often said of Brotherhood of Man. I think it's true to say.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
It's the end of the world, REM. Can I establish that that wasn't a newsflash? Somebody tuned in then, it's the end of the world. I mean, before I'd said REM, they could have been out doing whatever people would do if they thought it was the end of the world. I know what I'd do. I'd be straight to the cake shop. Yeah, because I think there'd be nothing
shop.
could stop you then, could it? Yeah. And what I'd want is one of those eclairs. There's sort of chocolate
I love an
eclairs,
eclair.
but there's ones that have got sort of they're sort of closed rather than open. You know, some have got a slight split in the
I know
top.
exactly what you
But
mean.
some are completely closed, and I like those. I like the chocolate on the top of them. It's not like normal chocolate. It's like sort of molten plastic.
They're verboten to me at the moment, though.
Oh, they are.
Whilst I'm on the all-white diet.
Oh yeah, strictly verboten.
You have
Yeah.
to suck the insides out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have the cream.
I can't have the chocolate. I'll be like some medieval peasant with all chocolate teeth. Oh, it'll be awful.
What are you looking at me for?
I did look at you, actually.
You
I'm
did
sorry.
immediately.
Oh, Frank. I love your teeth.
You don't.
No, I don't. Steve from Leeds.
Yes.
Morning, Frank, Emily and Gareth. Giant inflatable snowmen and Santas outside people's houses at Christmas make me cringe.
Yes. I know. Those people who really go for it on the Christmas front. That's something I like about. Often with a cringe, it's a borderline thing for me.
Yeah.
886 says, hello, standing next to someone in a self-serve till in supermarket when the lady in their computer screams, card not accepted. Ouch.
Ooh.
She doesn't say it like that.
Does
Can I
she
do
not?
it how she says
Yeah,
it?
say it, yeah.
She says, card not accepted.
Very good.
Thank you.
Should do voiceover.
It's just for that.
You said that in quite an angry way. Very good. Should do voiceover.
Yeah, you can see another career for... you could do voiceover, actually.
Oh, thanks. Don't tell Sandy War. Chris in Sibford, feeding cattle. I suppose for you TV and radio types it's normal, but for us mere mortals, hearing your own voice played back to you is truly horrible. Now that's funny, Frank, because one of my cringe-worthy moments is when someone uses the phrase us mere mortals. I just can't bear it.
How brilliant that someone has sent in a cringe text which includes a cringe.
Oh, but I don't mean to be horrible, Chris. Good luck with the cattle.
Yeah, although you couldn't say still feeding cattle without a little bit of contempt.
No, I thought that was a lovely sort of Richard Bryars moment there.
Absolutely.
Someone's got to feed the cattle, or where are the meat medallions going to come from in restaurants? I love a meat medallion. I'm always, the first time I had one of them, I was so disappointed it wasn't on a string. They don't think it through. So Emily's been on another one of her big fashion trips.
I've been away. I've been to New York.
I love that people pay for you to go to these things. It's exciting.
Well, no,
isn't
this
it?
wasn't one of my fashion. You don't know much
wasn't
about
it?
No, this was personal.
Oh, was it? So
Yeah.
you paid?
Well, yes, in a way.
Oh, sorry if I asked quite the wrong question.
Emily goes to New York this time, it's personal.
Yeah.
This was a personal trip, yeah.
Oh, I didn't realise that. Well, I've made something of a fool of myself. However, I will continue. Hold on. Oh, I just cringed a bit.
Cringe. Oh, Frank, don't cringe.
I just thought of another cringe, but I'll tell you later.
Okay. Yeah, so I went away, but things weren't very good when I arrived, because I arrived at customs. I was only there for about 4 or 5 days. And I arrived with friends. One of my friends was a celebrity. You might be able to guess who it is.
Bob Hoskins.
Yes.
Oh, God, I was going to go Ainsley Harriott.
When I arrived at customs, we got sent into this strange channel which said diplomats. I don't know why I ended up there.
Diplomats?
Yes.
Wow.
But then I was feeling all really pleased. This was cringe. This was so cringe. I'm feeling so pleased I'm in the diplomatic channel.
Oh, yeah. Who wouldn't be?
And the guy, as I arrived, the guy says to me, "Are you a diplomat, ma'am?" I said, "No."
You should have said that's a bit of a person. Move along, my man. And then you'd have assumed that you were.
You should never ask a lady if she's a diplomat.
I said, "No." He said, "Are you a VIP?"
I mean,
Really?
Emily Dean.
I said,
He wasn't very diplomatic considering he was on the diplomat queue.
"I said, not really."
Oh, not really?
Oh, well, I was trying to be British and self-deprecating.
That's very modest.
I'm not
No one likes to call themselves a VIP.
Yeah.
Well, I know people who do, and actually Emily would have been on that list.
So he said,
I don't like not really. I remember having a conversation with someone once, and they said, "Oh God, have you ever walked in a pine forest at very, very early in the morning and smelled the pine?" And this guy said, "Not really." And I said, "Well, what do you mean by that? Have you walked sort of mid-morning in a pine forest, or have you just walked early but only around the periphery of a pine forest?" And he thought I was being pedantic.
well, then he said, Frank, "What do you do?" Oh, well, that made me also... Well, by that point, I thought, well, I have to say something slightly celebrity-based, otherwise he's just going to completely reject me down from the diplomatic channel. So I said, well, I work on a radio show. I name-dropped the radio show. Isn't that awful?
I
Cringe?
mean, God bless you, but I couldn't see it. Which airport was this?
This was Kennedy. This is JFK.
Yeah, I don't think that's got much pull, has it, there?
I said, I work on a radio show. He went, "Oh, really? Are you a celebrity?" I went, "No." He went, "You work on a radio show and you're not a celebrity? Why not?" Which I'd like to ask that question to you two, actually.
Well, that's the phone-in.
That's the text-in.
The text-in,
yeah,
sorry, if we
that's
don't want people phoning. I don't think we have the facilities here at
No,
Absolute Radio.
I don't think so.
No, but we don't want people phoning. I don't think we have the facilities. That is the absolute slogan. Someone sent in the absolute slogan, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
There is one.
What was it again? Discover real music? I believe it was.
Discovering real music, yes.
Not discovering, don't add the ing.
Discover real music. It's more of a command.
Yeah.
And it suggests some sort of conspiracy with fake music.
Well, there's a lot of fake music out there. You know, there's a lot of stuff that we don't play on Absolute Radio, which I'm glad we don't play. Let's put it that way. I don't want to name names. We play music which is proper, from the very core of the soul music. Let me give you an example.
We only have this excerpt.
This is Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
Well, Frank, I want to carry on talking about New York, but I'm a bit torn because we have had some good cringy emails in
Well,
as well.
let's hear those cringy texts.
Yes, having to sing Auld Lang Syne, especially with the arms crossed, shaky arm thing.
Yeah, I like an Auld Lang Syne, and I like the arm cross, but I always sense that people either side of me, I can feel a cringe. I can feel it like an electrical current, because I will impose an Auld Lang Syne.
Oh, really?
Do you? You seem an Auld Lang Syne imposer.
Yeah. Well, I always think the year could go horribly wrong if you don't start it with an Auld Lang Syne. My dream was to... do you remember that... Where's Your Mama Gone? Do you remember that song? What's the name of that band? Pickety Witch, was it?
I
think it was Pickety Witch. Yeah. The lead singer of that had that thing... you know, people used to be allergic to the 20th century.
Oh.
They had that thing, they had all that plastic and everything.
Like Boy in the Bubble.
The Boy in the Bubble. And they used to say they were allergic to the 20th century. So my dream was to do Auld Lang Syne at her house as the year 2000 came in. And as we're doing it, she emerges from the bedroom going, oh, God, I feel so much better. That would have been like one of the great talking points of ever.
I don't believe allergic to the 20th century. I think that's emotional.
Just
and
like lactose
intolerant.
intolerant.
I don't believe it.
Sceptical.
Frank, we've also had no name, I'm afraid, but 437 describes this as the annual Cringe Fest. A bunch of TV newsreaders on stage dressing like rock stars and headbanging.
Yeah, I know.
I can't bear that, Frank.
Are we talking Children in Need?
I think we are.
I think Children in Need, has quite a big edge over Comic Relief on the cringe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're more at home in a nylon wig and a badly fitting T-shirt and a bucket for Children in Need. It's a sort of a... can I say there is times when cringing, something can be on the verge of making you cringe and making you sing out loud with joy. There can be those things. I went to this do, and it was to... I'd got a book coming out, and it was like an enormous book launch for all these books that had come out by the same publisher. So there was loads of people there who got books out. And we all had to go up and talk for about 5 minutes about our book and explain what it was about and be light-hearted and hopefully get a few laughs. And Chris Eubank got up, and several people, that me and Bob Harris, even Anne Robinson had done, light-hearted speeches. It was lovely. He got up and read a selection of poetry from the First World War. And I cringed, but I also, in the midst of my cringe, I punched the air, because it was a fall. He treads a fine line at the best. He's often in cringe territory, but I thought his head appeared above the parapet of greatness.
So had he released a collection of them, or what had he got to do with it?
No, he did the naming of parts. I remember was the one that sticks in my mind, because I remember the end of parts it was like a fabulous Handel's water music type display of saliva. It was
Dolce decorum est.
But I think exactly. I might have even done that. But it was that moment when cringe moves into greatness. Oh, loved it.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, can we straighten out one of the most crucial things that's come up this morning, which was the Where's Your Mama Gone song, which was Chubby Chubby Cheep Cheep.
Yes.
It was sung by Middle of the Road, not Pickety Witch.
You're right.
Jan says. Well, it's not me. Not me, it's Jan.
Once I've made a very great fool of myself. But,
Seth
that's because I'm discovering real music. Sorry.
Yeah. Seth the Postie in Solihull says the most cringeworthy thing is people who say "for my sins" after things.
Oh, I hate "for my sins."
You know what makes me cringe? In any way, shape or form when people say that.
Oh, I don't like that.
No.
I thought you were actually saying that and I cringed a bit.
Oh, no, I'm cringing now at the thought that you actually thought I said it. As an example, when it was an example of a cringe.
When I was in New York, I'll be saying that a lot over the next few weeks, get used to it. When I was in New York, I had a singing waiter, and that made me cringe. So I was in a diner, and you'd be sitting there, and then he'd be wandering off, and you'd say, "Oh, what are the specials?" Go, "I'll be back with you in one moment, ma'am." And then he'd be singing the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy over there. And then I wanted to ask him for another coffee, and he was mid-performance. He was singing, "Don't Stop Believing." I was like, "Can I get a refill over here, please?" Oh, it was awful. Oh, it makes
Look,
me sick.
forgive me for topping your cringe story, but I was in a bar, a sort of cafe in Euro Disney, and the staff got on the bar and did Grease Lightning. Wow. So obviously I couldn't swallow. I mean, I was so contracted. I looked like. Do you remember the bloke on TFI Friday whose stomach looked like an elephant? Do you remember
Chris
that?
Evans,
In the
he's not that bad.
No, he's. Oh no.
No, the polka dot conceals it.
Yeah.
I
Do you remember
know.
that guy? It was
Yes,
called
I do.
Unique.
Yeah.
That's what my stomach went like. It was as tense and as tight as it's ever been.
Oh, it's awful, that kind of thing.
Chris says, I don't know about cringing, but listening to Gareth saying the word potty in that slightly childlike way makes me angry. In my defence, it's difficult to say potty in a very grown-up way because we don't often use that word in grown-up society.
No, is there a sort of... I know what they mean, because I reprimanded a guy for using the word kiddies. Oh, you know, the thing is with kiddies, and I said, "Oh, God, you call them kiddies." and a few people went, "Oh, come on, what's wrong with that?" And I got sort of as if I was being an old curmudgeon.
Oh.
But no, potties,
like
kiddies, righty. Sorry, no, not righty. Righty's absolutely, that's a brilliant thing to say.
No, but people with kiddies do tend to use a slightly childlike way sometimes.
No,
it's true.
You lose the grip on what's appropriate to talk about in society. That's true. As my whole potty story.
What did you think, by the way? Did you think, because you've gone for a quite trad name with Ethan.
Ethan.
What did you? Because Miley in class had a baby. She called it Hero.
Yes.
And some people were quite critical of it, Frank.
What will its surname be? Not Class.
Hero Class.
No, it won't be Class.
Hero Class.
She could have called it Business.
Oh, I'd call a child that.
Yes.
Love it.
I think people are divided between the people who think we don't need another hero and people who've been holding out for a hero.
Yeah, that's true. I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to the headlines if in some future, say in 18 years' time, he gets dumped and the woman who dumps him then goes out with the Hollywood actor Zero Mostel. That would be. It wouldn't be that easy because Zero Mostel died, I believe, in the 90s. But even so, maybe there's a Zero Mostel Junior. The way they do that makes me cringe a bit. L.J. Wagadorn III, that kind of.
There's been a bit of a theme about baby feeding this week, in that people twittering babies being mentioned in people's Twitter feeds. Because I
thought you meant baby feeding.
No, I know that's what I'm. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because it's called Twitter feeds, and we're there. Mylene defended because people said the name was bad on Twitter.
Hero.
What, Hero?
Yes, of course,
right.
because the internet is a place to say what you hate. And
I sense you're liking Hero, aren't you?
I think Hero's.
I think it's lovely.
You're pro Hero.
She said it was from Much Ado About Nothing because that's her favourite character.
Yeah. I think that lets you down if you're someone.
Are you cringing, Frank?
No, I'm all right. I thought it was a motto for life. Sorry, carry on.
I'm sure, because she's of the age where the film of Much Ado About Nothing has come out with Kenneth Branagh and Emma Thompson, I think it just makes you seem, that's where she's got it from.
Yeah.
Not the...
I wish she'd have opted for Titus Andronicus.
Yeah.
Titus Andronicus class is something I would like to fly on a plane.
What do you think of Belle Baldwin?
Who is that?
That's Holly Willoughby's new baby.
Oh, so I thought it was someone who ran a factory on Coronation Street. The progeny of Mike, I thought.
I don't know about Belle Baldwin. Is that after Stanley Baldwin? She's quite a fan of his. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, and Alexander Graham Bell because she's done a lot of phone-ins over the year. She's. I think that's all right. Didn't she? She was Twitter involved, wasn't she? No.
Yeah, no, she was as well. both Fern Cotton and Philip Schofield were tweeting heavily about her baby.
You went a bit like a tabloid journalist for tweeting heavily. I like that.
Oh, Philip Schofield. I'm not sure about Philip. I can't come
What do you mean?
the white hair.
Silver Fox?
I don't like that. It's white, though, isn't it?
It's Cliffordian, is what it is.
It's very Marie Antoinette. The white. I think he's still reeling from that time the French mob threw vegetables at his overly ornate stagecoach, Philip Schofield. That's the look he has about him. No, I don't know. The whole Holly Willoughby, Fern Cotton... I mean, wouldn't you want to be a fly on the wall when they just sat around and chatted what that would be about?
Well, you can read it on Twitter.
Yeah,
much.
So what did they have to
Word
say
for
about
word.
about the Labour? I mean, what's to say? She's sweating up.
No news yet from at Holly Wills. Was one of Philip Schofield's ones.
No news yet.
No news yet.
There you,
Because
that's kind of how I imagine the conversation would be going, the three of them in a room.
Yeah.
Well, no news yet. Hey, speaking of the news, I saw this dog on a skateboard at the end of the news the other night. Oh, Philip, you never... Oh, sacre bleu, but the mob, they don't understand at Versailles. We must leave in a way... Oh, anyway.
For my sins. I bet Pippi likes her for my sins.
Let's not go into Philip Schofield's sins. We'll be here all day. Running through. So I don't like the idea of a birth on Twitter, though. Although I have to say, in the off chance I have a child, I have already done a deal with MySpace.
Have you?
Really, as a comeback.
That's great, Frank.
I'm fighting for MySpace.
Shall we make it cool again?
Yeah, I think
We're the people to do it, let's face it.
I think it's the Matalan of the social networks. That's the slogan that they should get.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, we've had a text in about cringing from John from Manchester. I get a massive cringe when you ask someone what job they do and they answer, I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you.
Yeah.
Also...
It's awful.
You're right. In fact, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
There you go. That was a live cringing here on Absolute Radio, the home of real cringing.
I always wish those people would actually kill me. Then have, that's the point in the conversation.
But before they say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John from Manchester also says he once heard Bruce Forsyth use the phrase bra and panties on air once and he's never been the same since. Isn't that horrible?
At least it was on air. It's not the thing you want to hear him say if he suddenly sat next to you surprisingly on a train. Say he was back on his way back from the toilet and it was just an opportunist moment and he just sat down and went, bra and panties.
Pete in London also says that business meetings do slightly cringe at the go-round-the-table self-introduction moment. Oh, I feel sick thinking about it.
I don't know, I don't really have business
No,
meetings.
you don't have. People do that for you. It's horrible.
People do it for me?
Yes.
Yeah, I send a man in to do my name and what I like. I'm Frank and I like tennis. Is it that kind of thing?
Yeah, you just say where you're from and who you are.
Do you have to say any likes, your interests, or any...
No!
You have to say
not
you have to
12.
say what you do.
Yeah.
What
I
your
thought
role
people
is.
said their brand. You know what I mean?
On my brand.
Yeah, you might say your brand as well.
What is your brand?
InStyle magazine is my brand.
No, but people have like a
Oh,
little
I see.
slogan.
My personal brand.
Yeah. Mile in
Oh.
class, what you do about nothing. Philip Schofield, let them eat cake. Everyone has their
Emily
set
D.
thing.
Hidden Shallows.
Yeah, Shallows is
Yeah,
very
that's
excellent.
me. It's my brand.
Gareth Richards, live your dreams, dream your life.
Huh?
What's that?
Don't know, really.
That's a weird brand.
Sounds, I could imagine
Do you
that on
like it?
sportswear.
So, Frank, when I was in New York, again, I will be saying this quite a lot.
I'm getting jet lagged this morning. I'm in New York so much.
One thing that I did find quite stressful was staying in a very, not staying in a nice hotel. That aspect wasn't remotely stressful.
No.
But staying in a hotel that was a bit cool and young and trendy. So when you go to the lobby, it's a bit like a nightclub. There's like well, it is a nightclub, essentially. It's a very cool bar where people come in and out of. And I didn't like that because I felt quite stressed. Every time I'd come down to reception and I don't want to ask for a map or something. I think I'll have to do my hair and makeup. I don't quite... It's not good. I think you need those areas to be separate. I don't want to live in a nightclub when I'm there for a week because I don't always look great, believe it or not.
No, I can sympathise. I stayed in a place called the High Hotel, H-I,
Yeah.
in Nice. Oh. And, oh God, it was trendy.
Oh, that's
It was so trendy. that they had CDs that you could borrow in the foyer, and I thought, well, I'll go and get some. There might be something I like. So there were very sort of obscure dance type things that meant nothing to me, but I picked them up to check them out. But it was so gloomy in there because light isn't very cool. And of course, so I'm holding these very, very trendy CDs at arm's length for a start off, so I can read the small print. But I couldn't. I'm looking around the ceiling for a pool of light. So eventually, I find like a spotlight, and I'm standing, and you just think, that man shouldn't be even touching that CD if he can't read without bright light and some sort of extended arm thing. It is difficult.
Me and Laura also went away this week for a short break. We didn't go quite as far as New York.
Oh.
We'd booked somewhere close by, because it was the first time leaving Ethan overnight.
Oh, well, I think we should have the travel before.
Oh, yeah.
This sounds to be
how topical the travel, Frank.
This isn't it's not a remark, it's an adventure.
Frank on radio. Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Absolute Radio.
That was Paul Simon. You can call me Al.
Well, 977 says this song makes me cringe.
Oh, well, sorry for any Paul Simon fans, but yeah, it doesn't make me cringe as much as... No, I can't say it. I will say, I think it's the Jim Proudfoot trailer when he talks about urine. I can't.
Fine.
I think it's a mistake. I'm sorry.
What is this? 491 says, I cringe at bare feet. No, put them away.
Bare feet? Well, it depends on the bare feet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like a hairy toe on a man, but some women's feet are beautiful. They're like alabaster.
Frank, Craig says, I cringe when aspirational reality TV programmes play M People Search for the Hero, or Christina Aguilera, You Are Beautiful No Matter What They Say, whilst morbidly obese people cry their eyes out. That's from Craig.
Craig McGee.
Looking forward to the Britain's Got Talent series starting tonight there, Craig.
If you're beautiful no matter what they say, probably not beautiful.
Oh, body fascist Gareth over there.
Yeah, I can find beauty in everyone, I like to think. That's what I like to think.
Gareth, whilst I was talking about New York and Frank was talking about some posh hotel somewhere.
Very posh. Nice.
Yes, Nice.
Nice.
Where were you talking about?
We went to the New Forest.
It's okay,
which
Frank.
is, it's quite a big area. But we knew we didn't want to go too far away because it was the first time we left our son Ethan by himself with my parents.
You weren't tempted by Disneyland? Okay.
So we put it in the sat-nav where we would go. It was 17 minutes away.
17 minutes, that's what I call a dirty weekend. Sorry, am I imposing a dirty weekend on you?
No, it was Monday through Wednesday.
Oh, okay, but it was filthy.
Oh, disgusting.
Okay.
Oh. Well, no, actually, it was quite clear, because one of the stipulations that Laura had for where we stayed, she wanted to have...
She had stipulations?
Yes.
She's a teacher, they always have stipulations.
Yeah. She wanted to have a bath.
Okay.
About time.
So whatever you were going to do, she felt there'd be a need to marinade afterwards. Yeah. Well, goodness me.
Or before. No, but
she stipulated a bath.
Well, no, because when you've got a young child, there's just no time for a bath. There's no time to relax and have a bath.
I see.
Just have short, sharp showers.
I never thought of that.
Yeah. So we arrived in the room, no bath. I'd phoned ahead
to check there was
to arrange a bath.
What happened?
Well, I felt the pressure to complain effectively, and me and Laura asked ourselves, what would Emily do?
Did you?
In this situation.
Oh, so how was the Ritz? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah. So we went somewhere much better. No,
Good.
we didn't. No, we stayed.
Oh.
No, we.
But did you complain?
I phoned up and she said, sorry, we haven't got any rooms with bars. I'd move if I could, but there aren't any.
I don't believe that.
No,
I think she's swabbing you off.
That made me...
I complain as a matter of course. When I get to a hotel, you're meant to do that.
Really?
So when you get to your room, there'll always be a better room, always. You just say, where would Madonna stay if she was staying here? And then you say, well, I happen to know she's not in town. Can I have her room?
Well, I went out with a woman exactly like that. When we checked into a hotel room, I didn't even take my coat off. I knew it would just be a matter of time. So did they bring a tin bath up for you?
No, well, the first night, I went down and spoke to her personally and said how important it was. But I think they really didn't have... But the next night, they gave us the bridal suite.
Oh,
It
that's
did have a
nice.
nice bath, so it did pay off the
Oh, I
complaining.
don't know. That high hotel I stayed at, I booked a suite. When we got there, it was just a small room. And I said, oh, I don't care, it'd be fine. And then we'd been there 4 days, and someone said, you enjoying your suite? I said, well, thank you for mentioning it, but it's not actually a suite. And they said, oh, no, you've also got the room next door, which was another small room.
Oh!
And there was no adjoining door. I said, no, what you've given me is 2 rubbish rooms. And they said, no, so we explained it. I said, you didn't explain it. Oh, did a suite? And they said, and I thought, well, they're going to come up now with the bridal suite, the presidential.
Yeah.
They said, well, would you like a bottle of wine?
Oh.
Dear.
Well, that's going to help. They never mix the grape and the grievance. That's mine. Anyway, you can download Not the Weekend podcast on Wednesday morning and beyond that, obviously. Ben Jones is next. This is Paolo Nutini with 1010. I thought it was the Herjay who did that. Tina, bring me the axe.
This is Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.